KFUG Community Radio, 4 minutes past 11, time now for this week's Health Matters with PA Lynn Szabo. And Lynn, we're discussing yet another variant of concern, correct?
Yeah. Omicron.
Omicron. All right. So I know nothing about this other than I should vaguely be scared about it. So what's happening? What's the word?
Okay, so this Omicron apparently showed up in South Africa about the 17th or 18th of November, and it was probably dates a little bit back to like the 11th of November. They think it was probably an immunocompromised person. There's a hypothesis that it was developed in somebody who had untreated HIV, but I don't know how they know that. And there's some reports by people saying it's been around since September, October. I really doubt that. Mm-hmm. I think it showed up in early November. I think that's probably the most data-driven way to look at it.
Okay.
Providers initially noticed a change in the clinical picture. So they were seeing people come in around that time with profound fatigue and headache. So, as they say, not the catarrhal stuff, and that means runny nose and cough.
Okay, all right.
So profound fatigue and headache.
So, like, sort of like other symptoms that have been associated with with COVID, but just really burly.
Right.
Yeah.
The ones we're used to, kind of back burner. The ones we don't pay too much attention to, now in the forefront. And they had a couple kids too that had really elevated heart rates, so that was of concern too. And so the initial person who noted it and made it apparent happened to be, I guess, involved in the South African American Medical Association equivalent, and she was also a practicing family practice physician. Okay. So she hypothesized that it was really mild, and she reported it, and people started responding to it, and started, it's kind of like once you see it, you see it. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so the word that I got from an ICU physician at Swado, or at least I read what he had to write, was that he was seeing younger people with moderate to severe disease, and he's an intensivist. Okay, so he's in the taking care of the sickest people in an area, a poverty-stricken area that's pretty much unimmunized. Okay, so he was seeing way sicker people, and the sicker people were younger. This is what's somewhat scary. 65% were unimmunized. The rest were partially vaccinated. So it was mostly the disease of the unvaccinated or partially vaccinated.
This next sentence is just terrifying to me.
Yeah, 90% of what he was seeing was Omicron. So from about the 11th of November to about the time it started being reported, which was the 24th of November, at this one town, mostly unvaccinated people, 90%.
That's not what that says.
Okay.
I mean, that the sentence is 3 weeks later, 90% of the cases in South Africa are Omicron.
Yeah.
So not just Soweto.
Not just Soweto.
Right on.
Yeah, you're right.
Right on.
Good call.
Because that's the part that scared me. So I'm like, wow, 3 weeks, and then it's basically the dominant strain in a country.
So remember, it's the summer there. They're in the southern hemisphere. Okay. So and they had Delta there. They're largely unvaccinated, but Omicron. The take home on that is Omicron kind of flipped the dynamic away from Delta in 3 weeks. Is what it looked like.
Exactly. That's what was frightening. Wow.
Right. So how is this virus different? So the thing is, it's like vastly mutated. Okay. So the 32 mutations on the spike protein, 10, this is where the problem is, 10 are on the binding protein. So that's the protein where the coronavirus actually binds with the cell, probably a human cell, right? And then enters the human cell, and then the race is on.
So it's got more...
It's got more mutations.
More mutations on the part that...
And a scarier part.
Right, exactly.
So for reference, Delta had 8 mutations, Beta had 3. Okay, Delta only had 2 on the binding protein. This one has 10. So the version of this virus likely has an increased viral load and a better binding capacity. So they are hypothesizing that makes it more transmissible, but they don't really know for certain yet. I mean, it looks like it. It took over the country in 3 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
But it took over a largely unvaccinated country, too.
But an unvaccinated country.
That's what I said. Yeah, largely unvaccinated
Right,
country, so it
right.
could do whatever it wanted, basically, right?
Basically.
Yeah.
So the problem is that the Rho value I saw for it, which is definitely has got to change, was only 2.
Huh.
And Delta is, I think, 3 to 4. Measles is 15. So the higher the number goes, and remember what the R naught value
Yeah,
is?
yeah, exactly.
AKA Rho value.
The more transmissible it is.
The more transmissible. So I think the first estimate of an R value is wrong.
Okay.
And the sickest people are unvaccinated. We've heard this before, and this is what's should scare Del Norte. Previous COVID illness doesn't really protect anybody from reinfection.
So you can't, you don't have, well, I asked before too about how long somebody would, maintain like their immunity after being
Right.
ill, and you said maybe like a month to 3 months or something like
Right.
that. If that's,
Right.
So, but that's just not happening at all with,
Not happening.
yeah, wow.
Yeah. So known to be more contagious, capable of thwarting the current vaccines. This is the second worrisome thing. So when they take blood from somebody who's been vaccinated and they put it in a test tube with Omicron, it looks like it can get around some of the vaccines, like the neutralizing antibodies, which are the response to the vaccine. You could also argue response to the disease are not really as effective at shutting it down.
And is that because of the mutations on the binding part that make it
They
it's
think
just
so,
easier
although
for it to...
that's the specific answer unknown. Really,
okay,
it could be
okay.
other mutations.
Linda, does this matter as it pertains to when people last had their COVID vaccination or their booster? I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say,
Right.
Are you
Does
better
it-
off the sooner?
or does it get
fade?
around it regardless of when you were vaccinated, or because the vaccine potency wanes over time?
Unknown and probably both.
Okay.
I would say unknown. That's something they're looking at in detail. But if you get your third jab now, you're kind of sitting sweet. If you had your third jab, maybe a little longer ago, that nobody really knows.
Wow.
So, it's known to be more contagious and maybe getting around the vaccines. Rho values too. We already talked about that. Even though it's summer, it's only taken 3 weeks to become the dominant type.
And you say it's more likely to make young to middle-aged people sick? Is that just because of the population that it developed in or spread in, or is that an...
Unknown.
Yeah, okay.
And so remember, the kind of everything hit the fan the day before Thanksgiving, all right? Which is not a holiday in the rest of the world. So a lot of scientists were busy at work, but I have to say that the difference between the reaction that the United States is having on a governmental level and the reaction that like the European Union is having is like night and day.
Yeah.
The European Union is losing their mind over this.
And much of it's already shut down too. They've
Right.
slipped back into
They had a
lockdown.
super aggressive, super quick response. And in my opinion, the United States is kind of like, meh.
Yeah. It was maybe 3 weeks ago Russia shut down, and that was the first time I even saw that. Oh my God, something's happening.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing is I don't think the United States has the will
No.
to do that. I really don't. I mean, if this turns out to be as serious as it could be, and we don't know that yet,
Right.
it's going to break this country. I mean, I really believe that because we don't have the will to deal with it. We don't have the will to do what it takes.
Well, other countries, for travelers, they shut down, like Israel, 100% shut down. The United States didn't really shut down until Monday, I think. So they let they wanted, I think they wanted travelers over the Thanksgiving weekend to be able to get home. Which to me is medically what they should have done is they should have quarantined those people for 10 days until it was safer and then brought them home. But that, we don't like inconvenience, but it's going to seed the disease in the country. It's probably, like Fauci said, it's probably already here. Let's see. The other scary thing is it's hard to pick this up in the standard quick and dirty testing.
Oh wow.
So it might go under the radar for a little bit.
So you need like the PCR
You
testing?
need a
to bring it-
PCR,
okay.
yeah. And it might even have a unique pattern in a PCR,
Yeah.
they're thinking. So Pfizer's considering making a new anti-Omicron messenger RNA vaccine. And they just came out and said that really quickly. They can gear that up in about 100 days.
Wow.
But Moderna is testing to see if their vaccine will be more universally effective.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard on the radio today that a little bit of doubt in the Moderna CEO guy's voice. Like maybe we'll have to see.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little worrisome. So what's the deal in order to do? If there was ever a time to get immunized, it would be now.
Now, before everybody's back is against the wall. Yeah.
And then I wanted to address a little bit about your problem getting immunized. So the best place to get, in my opinion, to get vaccinated right now is at the sites that are being manned or by Nurse Szabo, actually, at North Coast Testing Partnership.
I want to know more about Nurse Szabo. She just seems like you refer to yourself as what, the COVID warrior princess?
She's my co-princess.
Right? Yeah. Out
She's
there.
the one who made the costume.
Okay. All right.
She's like the patron saint.
Right.
She's out. Yeah, exactly. She's out traveling around and basically moves around the county, right?
And so this information I have about places to get vaccinated and times is from her.
Okay.
Directly from her. And
Excellent.
now she is the one who is driving the van with the vaccine to the site and sitting there, until somebody requests it, and oftentimes sitting there with no takers for hours. She's the one who should know where she is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she is in Smith River Monday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Where?
in the Howanquat Hall parking lot.
Okay.
Okay. She is at Elk Valley parking lot, where the Native Head Start is, UHS Head Start.
Okay, this is where we need clarification.
It's on Norris?
No. Yeah, I know where that is. But we were going from what was on the county website, and we were calling everybody yesterday to double check. And we called Elk Valley Rancheria. One of our newest reporters, Grant Merriweather, called them. They told Grant none of this is happening at the Norris location. That they have one of the days they're set up, I forget where, was it at the Rancheria office? And the other day they're behind the casino.
Yes.
Now, both of them, what I need to know is were they just interpreting, were those the same places? And they told them in two different ways that basically it's on Norris, which is behind everything back in there? I
guess so, but Shamie is telling me where she is.
And that's the most important part. So, see, this is part of the problems that we've had. Depending on who you talk to and who you call, you hear different things.
Right.
And that's what's been so angering about this. But she is the person to go to talk to for this. So she is at the Norris location, the Head Start back there, behind, that's just one block basically off of Howland Hill, behind the Rancheria offices.
She's there Tuesday and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I think the information you got was different time.
Yeah, they were telling us afternoons.
Right. And the Klamath, she's there on Fridays from 9:30 to 11:30 at the Holiday Inn Express parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she's wonderful, and she gives good shot. Okay. And she usually has Moderna and Pfizer, although it's getting a little tricky to find vaccine now that they're getting it every Tuesday from the public health department, but not in the quantities we're used to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting.
Is that just a response to how? Yeah, exactly. Why is that?
I don't know.
Is it just a response to how piss poor we've been as far as getting vaccinated in Del Norte? Are they just going, they're not going to take it, so why should we send it to them?
It might be that, and it might be like a response to decreasing Delta levels and it hasn't geared up for Omicron, or it might be that it's being sequestered somewhere else for some reason.
And possibly being shipped overseas.
Oh, I can't see us doing something that
there's
selfless.
No way
Yeah, I would default it. I would default onto we're hoarding it selfishly before we're sending it off to the people who need it.
I mean, of course, as soon as I said that, I realized it was stupid.
God, I hope not.
So let's recap. Nurse Szabo is the person given the shots. These are the places and the times you can find Nurse Szabo, who moves around all of Del Norte throughout the course of the week. Monday and Wednesday at Smith River at the Howanquat Community Center.
Yeah, Howanquat. Yeah.
Am I saying that wrong? How do you say it?
Well, how do the natives say it? They say Howanquat.
Howanquat.
Yeah.
Okay, Howanquat. I always said Howanquat. Yeah, that's not right.
I always said Howanquat.
Okay. All right. Y'all know where it is. It's not in Smith River proper. It's around the
Across
bend
from
by the
gas
casino.
station.
Yeah, across from the casino.
Right.
Instead of turning toward the casino, you make that left-hand turn if you're heading north, and you get back in there. But she is there Monday and Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Then at the Elk Valley at the Head Start at back on Norris, which is a block off of Howland Hill, Tuesday and Thursday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then just down in Klamath, the one day, right? Fridays at the Holiday Inn Express, right there in the town site. You get off at Paymay, you take a right-hand turn, and boom, you're there. Behind their new like village mock-up thing that they did there, I assume. Like that's out in front of the Holiday Inn, right past Paymay there. So that is Fridays, 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. That is a known quantity. That is who you should go see and where you can find her to
and now
get
that we've stated it's a known quantity, I think part of the problem is this stuff changes all the time, and the media's just not keeping up with it.
Nobody's keeping up with it.
So as I hear changes,
Please.
and if we've made any errors, I'll get Nurse Shammy's input from it, and we can try again next Tuesday.
Okay.
Other things you should know is the UHS in Crescent City does walk-in immunization
all day long.
All day long, but it's kind of better to go later in the afternoon. And that's Nurse Tracy, who is also super. And all you have to do is walk in. Doesn't matter whether you're a patient there. Doesn't matter whether you're native or not. Just walk in there, and they're all about shots in arms. So I don't think you have to fret if it's like 3 days from the end of your 6-month time that you got your second shot. You don't have to fret.
Just walk in and get it.
Yeah, they'll make it really easy. And Nurse Greg in Klamath, at the Klamath Clinic, Monday through Friday. He's there on Wednesday, even though the physician who staffs that clinic is not. You could walk in there during the times that would be normal business hours, except he's Humboldt-centric.
So he might leave early.
He leaves at about 3:30.
Online, we were double checking all of that stuff, and that was some of the information we needed to get today to add all of this. We're putting together a PSA to air just all the time on KFUG, outlining all the places you can go to get vaccinated and or boosted. The UIHS office closes at 4 in Klamath because, again, I think you said because he heads home in Humboldt.
Yeah,
right?
he kind of is leaning out the door at about 3:30.
Okay.
But he's great. All these people are approachable. All these people know how to give good shots. All these people are there to make it happen for you and not throw up frustrations, which is kind of new and exciting in Delaware County.
And UIHS, all the clinics, they're open to everybody. You don't have to be tribal members. You can go in and get.
You do not have to be a patient. So.
And just to clarify, because when I called the UIHS clinic in Crescent City yesterday, they told me what you had said, and said that they do walk-in vaccinations from like 8:20 in the morning to 4:30.
Okay.
So very specific. Like
give us
20 minutes to get in and make the coffee.
Like we open at 8.
Yeah.
We got to get our S together,
and then we got to get out at the end of the day.
And we got to get out at 5.
You know what?
Yeah.
No. Nurse Tracy is not really an out at 5 kind of girl. She will make it happen for you. Try and respect the time parameters they're saying, but if they want shots in arms.
That's the most important thing. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So take home 3 things we have to know about Omicron. This is what science needs to tell us, okay? What's the transmissibility? Ongoing epidemiologic studies. What is the ability of this virus to evade vaccine or previous illness type of immunity? Right now it's not looking good for the neutralizing antibodies. It looks like it can evade them. But we still have, the T cells and the natural killer cells. Remember we talked about how the vaccine stimulated 2 kinds of antibody responses. So we're still hoping for the T cells and the natural killer cells to be helpful. And then, is it more deadly? What's the virulence of this particular variant of concern? Is it more deadly? That's not really known.
Yeah, it's still way too soon, right?
There's a widely quoted bit of information on the internet from the female physician who first noticed it in South Africa or first reported it. And she said it was a tempest in a teapot or teacup. That's paraphrasing. She might have been premature on that.
Right.
So it's looking like worse than that. So I don't think anybody reading a story that uses that quote and tries to minimize this should be comforted by that in any way.
Okay.
So what do we do? And what is adult in order to do besides getting vaccinated?
Get immunized. No, what else can you do?
What else can you do? And the other thing I should mention is it looks like the monoclonal antibodies don't work as well.
Okay.
Or the recuperative serum that we were giving people in the early part, they don't seem to work as well against this
There's
virus.
just too many mutations with this, right? It's too different?
Yeah, it's too different. So improve your sleep. That's super important. Yeah, you look worried, Paul. The first 2 hours of sleep are the most restorative to your immune system. So try and improve your sleep, and that means decrease screen time at night. I know, I'm sorry. But anyway, exercise. Remember we talked about...
She's picking on me. Do I look tired? Is that what it is? I look tired, right?
She knows your lifestyle.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
At
yeah.
least you're not driving up off ramps.
Just because
Well, you don't have to worry about your sleep. Just improve your driving.
he hasn't left the compound yet today.
I know, it's true. I'm sorry. We interrupted. This is important.
Exercise.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important.
150
minutes a week. Remember the forced bathing? Best place to get both, actually, is just walk in the Redwoods.
Yep.
Okay? We've got that, covered.
Yes.
Diet. Improve your diet. Try and keep it healthy in general. Okay, vitamin C is not a bad thing. Vitamin D, you can get more from sun and dairy products. Healthy lifestyles, so lose the cigarettes. Let's see. And if you do get COVID,
He's picking on me.
you should be either isolating or, if you've been exposed to it, quarantining. Remember how we had the initial definition of isolate and quarantine, then we had something that capitalism put on us that was like a modified quarantine.
What, with the shorter time frame and all of that?
Was a shorter time frame. That is so out the window.
So this 10-day thing, that's BS? That wasn't medical? That was it should be 14?
10 days for real, and for this particular one, they're wondering actually if it shouldn't be longer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay tuned on that one.
Yeah.
It was more the quarantine. So if somebody in your family had it, or you had an exposure, you were supposed to be out for 14 days from the last time you were exposed in that situation. And so if you're a mom taking care of a bunch of kids, it's 14 days after your last kid is done with their 10-day isolation.
Right.
And
okay.
so employers found that hard to accommodate, and they said, oh no, we have modified quarantine now. And it's only 5 days, so I'm not sure that
Wow. I wasn't aware they'd done that.
yeah, I'm not sure that's medically enforceable.
Oh my God.
So here's some cool things, though. So we know fluoxamine, decreases advancement to serious disease by about 30%. Molnupiravir, I'm saying it wrong.
I think nobody said that right, actually, but yeah.
I'll say molnupiravir, commit. Decreased 30%. And then something we haven't talked about, and I'm like, how did this get beyond my radar? Paxlovid.
What's that?
That is a treatment for COVID that's going through the usual channels to get approved. Decreased severity of disease 89%.
Whoa, that's nice.
No, we should talk about that.
Yeah,
So,
we should know more about that. So you're saying that these antiviral medications that are out there that have been
Right.
effective against COVID are continuing their effectiveness?
Except for, I guess you could argue, monoclonal antibodies, if you define that as antiviral or not. So monoclonal antibodies, which saved a lot of people's lives here in Delmar, that doesn't seem to be working as well.
Okay. But there's it seems like for me the more meta takeaway is that, yeah, this is worrisome, but there are paths forward. This isn't like an unknown.
We kind of know what to do. It's
Right.
not like we're, Bambi in the headlights of the Mack truck necessarily. But this could be worse than Delta. Hopefully it won't be. But the scientists in other countries are pretty grim about it. And I haven't seen the United States reacting in what I think is the most appropriate way yet.
Yeah.
So-
I think we've got blinders on, and that's why, going back to your point about not having the will to deal
Right.
with this.
Yeah, that's my big concern is
Right.
that even if, we hope that it isn't as bad as it could be, but even if it is as bad as it might be, I truly am concerned that we don't have the will to actually deal with it.
Yeah.
So we're going to be okay with people dying.
Well,
I think that's
we
as
won't
a
be, but
no,
other
as a
people will
society,
be.
yeah.
Yeah.
As a quote unquote economy,
Right.
Yeah, all those horrible things people were saying about, the economy's more important than your grandparents.
Right.
That's going to become policy.
Yeah, death panels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's
Hooray
right,
for
so.
us. Okay, Sunshine, anything else you got for us here? I thank you again for the booster. And so at least I feel like I'm sitting in the catbird seat when it comes to this new this variant of concern, because you said now's the time to get immunized or boosted, and we did just that yesterday.
I will say informally, the question, when do you get your fourth shot?
Right.
That's
going to be something.
That's relevant to me, and I've been kind of pondering that.
And you.
I see
Yeah.
no data on that.
Yeah.
But what I think is going to happen is it might be a modified Moderna or Pfizer, and that might happen in like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
But we're assuming that even though we got the third shot, then all of a sudden we're golden for a while and then it's not.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really know that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
unknown, and we don't really know if the those natural killer cells and T cells are going to save us at the last minute.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Again, at the same time, though, having gone through this for more than a year and a half now, that there at least we have the avenues to arrive at a proper understanding of new things, because we've had to deal with so much. Yeah.
We're smarter,
Mm-hmm.
but so is the virus.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And some of us are not. So yeah. Alrighty. Well, anything else?
Nope.
Okay. You got something in the on deck circle for
we could talk mandates, but I also want to talk about this new med. I really haven't that was under my radar, so I
Okay.
have to improve that.
All right.
So yeah, but right now it's all about where can you get vaccinated and why aren't you doing it today?
All right. Lynn Szabo, Health Matters. Lynn Szabo, PA, Health Matters. Thank you so very much, and thank you also. You've been giving us so much content, because we have this program that we've just initiated, funding and to get vaccines in arms, as well as to improve messaging. And there's a lot of room for improvement when it comes to messaging here in Delaware County and COVID. And Lynn has been giving us basically, I think we've got more than half a dozen videos in the works right now, just from the topics and the outlines that you've been sending us. So thank you very much for that.
Okay.
And look for those to start coming out here in the next couple of weeks. And we're going to inundate you, because we've got the science and the knowledge, and it's important. It's really the best way to save lives in this pandemic. Anything else? Alrighty. You were tuned to KFUG Community Radio. We'll be back with more music after this break. And, of course, Lynn will be back next Tuesday. All goes according to plan for the next Health Matters right here on KFUG.